you'll see a lot of the big name brands: Tide detergent, Keebler cookies, Kellogg's cereals. But sitting right next to those brands, you're likely to also see the store's own version of the same products. And perhaps nobody understands those private label products better than this woman.
My name is Kusum Elawadi, and I'm a professor of marketing at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College.
Elawadi has spent her career studying store brands. She says these products really began to take off in the 1970s when inflation was straining the economy and shoppers had tighter wallets. In those days, they were called generics.
They were generally kind of acceptable quality, but known to not be anything outstanding. No name at all, very plain packaging. They were really attractively priced for price-sensitive consumers.
If you were buying beans, the generic would just be a giant white or yellow can with beans written on it. In commercials, the stores touted these products as cheaper alternatives to name brands. Alternatives that cut out the marketing and advertising and passed the savings on to consumers.
A new no frills value choice. Just look for the plain yellow and black generic labels and save even more on nutritious food and serviceable household products. So now the choice is yours, brand names or generics.
By the 90s, retail chains ditched the generic packaging and created their own simple branding for their affordably priced products. Today, most of the major retailers have store brands. Sometimes they use the name of the store, like at Trader Joe's. Other times, the retailer might create a brand name of its own, like Kirkland at Costco or Signature Select at Albertsons. With rising prices at grocery stores, these more affordable store brands are in high demand. Last year, Americans bought more than $230 billion worth of private label products, and they now account for around 1 in every 5 products on store shelves. For us shoppers, they present a tantalizing value proposition.
You know, I can go and buy a box of Kellogg's cereal and look for coupons or look for a deal in the grocery store and then get it for, like a 20% off or whatever. But I have to search for that.
Turquoise waters, palm trees, coral reefs, and some of the most picturesque white sand beaches in the world. It's the kind of place you go to when you want to escape modernity and bathe in the wonders of the physical world. For many years, Anguilla's economy rested on that beauty. The island made its money from tourism and lobster fishing. But in more recent times, Anguilla has struck gold with a digital asset: 2 little letters at the end of website addresses.
When we first started, it was around $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and now this month will be around $4 million that we're seeing from .ai. We'll be over half the government budget within a year.
For the Freakonomics Radio Network, this is the economics of everyday things. I'm Zachary Crockett. Today, top-level domains. On the internet, websites are identified by an address known as a Uniform Resource Locator, or URL. When we talk about websites, we usually refer to URLs by 2 parts. There's the second-level domain, which identifies the particular website, say Google. And then there's the top-level domain, which might be .com. The parts of a URL are separated by dots, so we usually call the top-level domain .com.
A top-level domain is a way of sort of categorizing a domain name into a certain subject area, if you will.
Kim Davies is the head of the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, or IANA for short. It's the organization responsible for keeping a record of all the domain name identifiers on the internet. All in all, there are nearly 1,500 of them, and each one serves its own purpose. .edu is for educational institutions, .mil is for the military, and .gov is for government. Some are serious, others can get a little sillier.
.info, .museum, .ninja. What our team does is maintain the official records of which identifiers have been assigned and make sure that they're used in a standard way on the internet.
When the system for organizing domains was being developed in the early 1980s, the newborn internet was dominated by researchers in the United States. As the rest of the world began to connect to the network, there was a recognition that each country should have its own domain too.
There was different research networks popping up in different countries, and they were contacting the researchers in the US to work out how to connect to this growing network. There needed to be a sense of agency for each country to sort of own and control their part of the network.
The result was something called Country Code Top-Level Domains, or CCTLDs. Each country got its own two-letter top-level domain: .us, .ca, .uk, .fr. The idea was that these domains would be reserved for businesses and institutions in the associated country. If you were a construction firm in Colombia, your domain name would end in .co. And if you were a